What's up, guys? I'm Tarot King the Prophet, back from the grave with another Crown King Tarot presentation. I'm going to do a Capricorn reading this September 2025. This is going to be Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, Mars. This applies to you when you know your birth placements. This applies to you, then hey, you're welcome. But if not, then maybe check with someone around you. I start all my readings out with a fortune cookie for my roses. That will be a card from the Daily Tarot deck, and also a card from the Moonology Oracle deck. Alright, so without further ado, let's get that started. Quick little shuffle. I just shuffled all these if you guys watched the little pre-video. We have Flavros. Let's see what Flavros has to say for Capricorn. And also give us our number. No. This one don't give us our number. This one don't give us our number. Excuse that part. Focus on unlikely allies. People that we may distrust can be honest in certain situations. Focus on unlikely allies. People that we may distrust can be honest in certain situations. It's funny because a couple weeks ago I was just talking about that book, The 48 Laws of Power, and how they say that your foe can be more trustworthy than your friend. So I just thought that was interesting that I brought that up, and I myself am a Capricorn. That's why we starting out with Capricorn for this turn. The Moonology deck is Nothing is Yet Set in Stone, Mutable Moon. Nothing is yet set in stone, the mutable moon. All right, this one will give us our number. 9, Capricorn. That's a good number. Number of the universe. Looking out. Nothing is yet set in stone, the mutable moon. Mutable is all about change, shape-shifting even. That something is still developing. This card indicates that something is indeed changing and there is room for maneuver. So take it as a sign that the situation you're asking about is far from finalized. If you're not happy with the current state of play, that's marvelous. It means you can still change the course of the outcome. However, there is also a sense that the situation could perhaps be a little unstable. For some, this is great news because you can still influence it. Others will still struggle with uncertainty, but you should stay with it a little longer. Either way, nothing is yet set in stone. Nothing is set in stone yet. The attune to the moon, Capricorn, is I know that the best will unfold for me. I know that the best will unfold for me. Turn this little aesthetic music up a little bit. All right. And then last but not least, I'd like to pull a card from this spread, 3 cards. What does one thing have to do with the other? Remember where you come from. Oh, this one flipped. This bond is strong. We have a bonus because 2 of them flipped. Take a break. Ease your mind. That don't happen too often. Usually only pull 3, but we're going to run with 4 this round. So once again, it's what does one thing have to do with the other? Remember where you come from. This bond is strong. What's going on, Miss Brody? Take a break to ease your mind. Alright. All that being said, you guys know I use the Wildwood Tarot deck. I have a little deck and a big deck. They're both the same. I use the big deck to lay out the main general energy for the reading, and then also for the main energy for the past, present, and the future. And then I take the little deck and I go back through and clarify each section, past, present, and future, and then also get a summary. And then I come back around with one more card from the big deck for a final message from the universe. Alright? And bam. That's going to be our main general energy, the Knight of Arrows in reverse. This is definitely about remembering who you are, remembering where it is that you came from. You know, going out there, being a hawk, as it is in this picture. Being a hawk, the hawk in this picture is kind of not remembering who they are, not remembering that they're a hawk, you know, and they're just kind of just stagnant. And that's not hawks. You know, hawks see things for what they are. They have amazing eyesight. You know, they're great hunters. You know, and you Capricorn in this reading are, as such, a great hunter. You know what I mean? And once again, this is about remembering who you are, being that hawk, going out there and getting yours. You know, and just, I don't want to say being relentless, you know, but just being Capricorn. You know, Capricorn by nature is a go-getter, you know, so only get Capricorn. All right, let's see what we got from the past, the present, and the future. All of this looks good. I ain't even gonna cap. Capricorn, cap. Anyway, in the past we got the Ten of Vessels. This is the card of happiness. You know, if you've been a Capricorn and you've been part of this energy that's been going on, things are probably pretty tight for you right now. Things are probably, you know, just a little rough. You know, there's a couple things that you've been going through, and I don't know if it came to that point for you where it's that why me energy, you know what I mean? But it's just hustle, 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 grind, you know what I mean? But you had your mind set on the past, you know, where there was a time where it was just like, man, everything was just good, or, you know, everything was good for you. It might not have been just good, but everything was good for you. You just like, man, what did I do to stray away from that? You know, how do I get back to that? Me as a Capricorn, that definitely fits, you know. But there was a moment, maybe not too long ago, maybe a long ways ago, where life felt like everything was complete, you know. Once again, happiness for you at this time was just really just nothing but a thing. Coming to the present, this is about something bad, moving away, you know what I mean? Moving away from your fulfillment, you know. Maybe things possibly coming back together for you, you know. Just dismissing, I don't know, an evil spirit, an evil person, you know, something that's been against your grind, against your movement, your progress forward is moving out of the way of your success, out of the way of your fulfillment, all right? Lies, deceit, narcissism, these type of things may have been invading your presence, and some way, somehow, at the present, these things are moving away. Going to the future, it's a lot like everything else that's been said right here. It's just like that main general energy, the energy of the hawk. You know, you this bird, you know, right side up, you just kind of just sitting there in the cold, and just, you're not even supposed to be here. You know what I mean? You're somewhere you're not supposed to be. In the future, it's the exact opposite. You know, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You're not hanging out just killing time. You know, you're not on a dead clock or anything like that. You out moving around and doing what suits you, you know. So, yeah, me being a Capricorn sun, I definitely like to hear that. Definitely like to hear that. You know, it's about not being stuck, Capricorn. Commercial. It's about not being stuck, you know. Stuck is not at all in our energy, not at all in our vibe. Let me shuffle these up just a little more. I ain't gonna lie, this commercial a little bit distracting. Trying to get by it. All right. So going to the past. Here, let me make some room. So far, all good things. Clarifications can change them up, you know, but so far, all good things for Capricorn in this reading. So in the past, we have the Queen of Bows, the Seven of Vessels, and the Five of Arrows. So yeah, like I said, especially with this middle card, this is about a memory, about reminiscing, you know, about when times were good. You know, you had the mask off, you were able to be yourself. You see what I'm saying? And you were to go. Wasn't nobody taking no shots at you or anything. It just seemed like everything was smooth rolling. You know what I mean? And you missed that. You know, you got that on your mind. That's, for lack of better ways to put it, you know, that's a time when things were stable, and you just want to get back to that. You see what I'm saying? You just want to get back to that, Capricorn. And according to the rest of this reading so far, you can have that. You know, it's just like you had your heaven and earth all is one. You know, once again, you didn't have to wear a mask. It was easy for you to be yourself. You know, a lot of things weren't shrouded in emotions or anything like that. But at some point, you definitely felt the walls closing in. You know, what happened at that point is your story to tell. Honestly, let's go to this present. Bam, bam, bam. You have the ancestor in reverse, the shaman, and the journey. So here you are. There was a point in time where you kind of just like felt alone, Capricorn. You know, you felt by yourself, and it was just like the cycle that you were going through. You know what I mean? But then something clicked. You know, for Capricorn, you might have had an epiphany lately. You know, and you're just like, all right, I got to shake this shit. I got to shake these feelings. You see what I'm saying? And there are still others that are around you that would rather pick on, not pick on you. You know, Capricorn is not really the one to pick on. You know what I mean? But just like pick on you behind your back, rather. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that's going on behind your back. There's a lot of talk, you know, saying that you may have lost it or that you are losing it or something like that. You see what I'm saying? But you've come to a point where none of these things matter. You see what I'm saying? None of these things matter at all. None of these people matter. The only thing that matters to you at this moment is finding yourself, you know, being who it is that you need to be so that you can do for you and those that you love and that you care for, so you can be Capricorn. But it's almost like you had to come back to the ring. You had to come back to the drawing board and like learn again how to do that. You know, somewhere along the line you forgot. Somewhere along the lines you may have forgotten yourself. You may have let some of life's obstacles or a person or just, you know, certain situations get in the way. You know, but right here at this level, it's like all those things are fading away. You know, and this is the present. All these things are fading away. Once again, maybe you've been hit with some sort of epiphany or something to that extent to kind of just bring you back to life, bring you back where you need to be mentally. That nonchalant Capricorn, the one who loves with everything that they have, but they know that there's a time and a place for that. You know, they know how to disassociate themselves so that they can act accordingly and take care of business, take care of the things that they need to take care of. You see what I'm saying? Capricorn is the type to know that someone needs their time. And they're just like, well, now is not the time to give it to you. You know, I'll make a moment when I can make a moment. But for right now, I just got shit to do. And that's where Capricorn is at with it. Going to the future. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah. And this is about reclaiming your energy right here, Capricorn. In this future, reclaiming your energy. You know, the path becomes clear. Things become a lot more clear for you than they were in this past. You know, actually they become more like the past, the past where this happiness takes place. You know, where everything was cool. This thing that you're reminiscing on, and you're just like, damn, I remember it was like this, it was like that. What happened along the way? And once again, whatever happened along the way is your story. You know, it's your situation, your family, your friends, a lover, a tragedy, a tower moment, you know, whatever it was. Something got in the way. It kind of changed all that, you know. But once again, you came to that present and you had this epiphany. And now you're getting back to you. No longer are these things getting in the way or blinding you from what it is that you need to do to get back to you. You've always done what it is that you need to do to take care of things, to take care of business, you know, but it's about the outcomes that you felt like you could not control. And that's not Capricorn. Capricorn controls outcomes. You see what I'm saying? Because they set their mind to something and then they go do it. And it comes of not exactly very, very close to where it needed to be. But, and, you know, in that present, I believe that there was somebody very, very close to you, or something that was dear to your heart, you know, that betrayed you, you know, that let you down or disappointed you or something like that. And you let it get to you, you let it hold you back, you know, you let it affect you emotionally, and you kind of just sat on it. And not only did you sit on it, you sat with that. You see what I'm saying? And once again, you were stagnant or anything, something like that, you know. But in that present, you had an epiphany, and you learned to let go again. You didn't learn to let go, you learned to let go again, because letting go is part of your forte. It's something that you've never really had a huge issue with, you know. I'll let go now and cry now and be okay later. You see what I'm saying? The sooner the better type shit. In this present, though, once again, the path becomes a lot more clearer. You know, you have a series of beginnings going on and a series of choices. You run into this great bear in the present, and you start taking risks, you know, because that's kind of your forte. You know, I don't know, maybe starting a business or something like that. Whatever it is, I think this risk is continuing to let others go, continue to chase what's good for you rather than chase what you think, what you want for you. It's like what you want and what you need. You see what I'm saying? And so instead of chasing what you want, you come to the point of chasing what it is that you need, because everything you want is not good for you. And need, it's all in the word, it's all in necessity. But you bring your dedication back to yourself, and you learn again to have free will. You see what I'm saying? You got that 9 again, and it's in reverse. You know, and it's a universe that's just like, hey, Cap, this is all you back in control. And that's what it is, you back in control, Cap. You see what I'm saying? Somewhere along this line, you lost control, you lost yourself, and through all that, you lost your happiness. You know, but this is the point where you gain all of that back, because nothing that was holding you back had anything to do with anything that was going to progress you forward. You see what I'm saying? And when you allow these things to hold you back, it really was all on you, Cap. It was all on you. You see what I'm saying? You were being something less than a Capricorn. You were being emotional. You were being a follower. You see what I'm saying? And you were being just hurt. And it's not like we don't hurt. We hurt, you know, but these are some of the things that's just like, okay, I'm in pain, but it's none of my business. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to keep that inside. We're going to keep that to ourselves. And it's almost a shame that it goes like that. But it's just one of those things where it just kind of just is what it is. You know, and we got to just, that's what's set out for us. You know what I mean? But we make it through. We lived our whole life this way. We make it through. That doesn't make it okay, but it still is what it is. Let's get some summaries going on. The past is the page of stones. The present is the 3 of stones. And the future is the 2 of stones. All Capricorn energy. It's all earth sign energy, rather. In the past, you had this page of stones. That's about something good coming in. You see what I'm saying? That's about something good coming in. And it's funny because, you know, originally in my mind, you know, in my mind said it's just like, you know, this kind of pretty supposed to be about something good going out, you know, but the good never left. You know, it was something bad that came in, you know what I mean? But what came in this situation was that epiphany, that memory, you know, remembering about the good times, what it was, the things that made you happy, and it's was a reminder to help you give back to that, to look at yourself right now, in the mirror and reflect of where you came from, and where you are, and where you really is that you're trying to go. And through that reflection, you remember who it is that you were, who it is that you are. You know what I mean? And you start to have that epiphany, and you come back to that. People are going to hate it. People are definitely going to hate it. You know what I mean? But it's on them. I gotta turn this down. These commercials is crazy. I gotta go ahead and get my membership back. Coming to present is the 3 of Stars in reverse, and that's about not holding up self-sustaining walls. Everything that is, you are just letting it be. Be what it is. Just like you can't help that. If these people over here want to spread rumors, you can't help that. If you lost that job, you can't help that. If this goes wrong, you can't help that. You see what I'm saying? But you're no longer entertaining it. You're no longer holding up those walls. You're no longer being the one, being affected by it, sitting on it, dwelling on it, you know, being stagnant because of it. You just like, no, it's gone. I can't cry with spilled milk. A titty gonna shake. Titty gonna shake. You know what I'm saying? Things gonna happen. They're gonna be what they are, and you just have to accept it and just keep moving on. You see what I'm saying? But that's all the way Capricorn energy. All right? Hit that volume for a second because another commercial came on. Coming to the present, to the future. It's the 2 of Stars. It's about choices and challenges. You know what I mean? These challenges, to me, in my opinion, are about staying in the energy of that, letting things go, letting people go, letting situations go. You see what I'm saying? This is the level, this is a point in life, Capricorn, where you have to be your own best friend. Will it be forever? No. No, it's not going to be forever. These readings aren't meant to last forever. You know, these are just current times. The future could be tomorrow and end in 3 days. You know what I'm saying? You never really know. You know, just kind of why you just keep getting these readings. But this is about fighting yourself, because there's a part of you that doesn't want that, that doesn't want that it is what it is energy. Doesn't want that holding things inside energy. You know what I mean? You want to release, you want to talk to people, you want to talk to someone, you want to allow people to come in. You want that, but that's where the challenge comes in. Who do you trust? Going after what you want instead of what you need. That's where the challenges come in. You got to stay on point, Capricorn. You got to stay focused. Everything that's coming to you is for you. It's what you need. Not necessarily what you want, but it's what you need. And it brings you back to being who it is, yourself. Yourself. The final message from the universe is... Shuffle these around for a second. The journey again, but in reverse. Entertaining the situation. Entertaining the situation. That's what it is that we have to work on. Entertaining those situations. And avoiding that. Getting away from entertaining those situations. Using those situations, using those problems to fuel you and to motivate you and to push you harder in the direction it is that you need to go. Capricorn, you got this. You got this by all means. Alright? I'm going to go back through these cards, these fortune cookies that I pulled in the beginning. And then I'm going to pull 3 more cards. Alright? So we're just going to recap. The first one was out the day material deck. A whole bunch of cards there. Flaveros. Flaveros says, Focus on unlikely allies. People that we may distrust can be honest in certain situations. Sometimes you have to look a little deeper into that. You see what I'm saying? It's not about dealing with people that you mistrust or that you distrust. It's just like they say, sometimes a stranger will do more for you than a friend. You see what I'm saying? And so it's really not about moving towards the strangers. It's about moving away from the friends, the family, the situations, and things like that. No longer entertaining them, you know, and finding that epiphany and being who it is that you need to be for you. This fell. Then the Moonology deck said, nothing is yet set in stone. It was the mutable moon. Mutable, and the number, Capricorn, was 9, the number of the universe. Mutable is all about change, shape-shifting even, that something is still developing. This card indicates that something is indeed changing and there's room for maneuver. So take it as a sign that the situation you're asking about is far from finalized. If you're not happy with the current state of play, that's marvelous. It means you can still change the course of the outcome. However, there's also a sense that the situation could perhaps be a little unstable. For some, this is great news because you can still influence it. Others will still struggle with the uncertainty, but should stay with it a little longer. Either way, nothing is set in stone yet. The atone to the moon, Capricorn, is, I know that the best will unfold for me. I know that the best will unfold for me. And the other cards I pulled says, what does one thing have to do with the other? Remember where you come from. This bond is strong. Take a break and ease your mind. But boy, if them all didn't go together, I don't know shit. Let's pull 3 more cards. There is nothing or nobody better for you. Take your time, take things slow. It's okay to spoil someone, especially if it's you. Any attention to what's being revealed to you. Oh, pay attention to what's being revealed to you. Time for learning, not teaching. Love it when a good thing come together, I swear. That's a beautiful reading, Capricorn. I hope you take heed to it. I know personally, I myself will. I definitely feel it, you know what I mean, as a Capricorn sun. Anyway, hope you guys got something out of this. You know, if this message is not for you, you know what, Capricorn, share the video. Pass the message on. I'm Tarot King the Prophet. This has been another Crown King Tarot presentation. Love, blessings, light, and peace.